Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. We're on season 6. This is episode 9, Andy, the songs edition.
Yes, music.
Today's January 9th, 2025, and we're going to do an album review.
Okay.
And then after that's done, we'll provide the listeners with some updates on music, concerts, tours. We're going to cover David Bowie today, Andy. We've never done it.
I like Bowie.
Bowie, this album was his 15th studio album. It's called Let's Dance. Now, Andy, I'm going to remove the banners here off here. Tell me a little more. Is this a double entendre, play on words, or what? He's gearing up to box, like saying, "Hey, let's dance," or is it dance songs?
The 80s entendres of dancing.
Lots of dance songs.
I just think the whole Bowie was just different that way, though, with his look and his sound and his song titles and that. You never know where he was coming with it. That was what made it interesting and want to listen to him. It's called Let's Dance. What's he talking about here? I got to hear this. And with that sound coming out in that title, hitting just perfect at the MTV era, you couldn't ask for a better combination for him.
Yeah, just the visual, the words right there, it got people interested. And he had taken some time off. So it's a couple of years since the previous album.
And I like Bowie's music, very intelligent man. But in a boxing gear, he's the least intimidating person I could think of.
Well, it must have been interesting to say, hey, here's what I'm going to recommend here to the record label. I'm going to put on some gloves here, a little MMA style, and have a shadow behind me for the old shadow boxing.
Yep.
And I'm going to be topless. And the record label may have said, well, whatever you say, bro.
Sure, Dave, you're fine.
So here's the track listing. It's called David Bowie, Let's Dance. This came out in 1983. First song, Modern Love. Now, this got a lot of airplay, right?
One of my favorite Bowie songs, one of my favorite songs of the 80s, really, was that song, yep.
Kind of a guilty pleasure, maybe.
Yep.
Next song is China Girl. Very, very good. Now, this is a cover. Iggy Pop wrote the lyrics for this.
Yep.
And so it's a David Bowie song or his version of it, but he did it with Iggy Pop. Next song is Let's Dance, the title track.
Yep.
Next song is Without You. Now, is this a kind of a fluff throwaway song, you think?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe.
It seemed from the reading I did that this was more of a kind of a filler. You needed 3 minutes to fill. Okay, let's throw on this song. It didn't have a lot of substance. The next song is Ricochet. Next song is Criminal World. This is a cover from a Metro song done earlier by Metro. I like this one. Criminal World, very good.
Yep, underrated. And
then there's the song Cat People, Putting Out the Fire. Was this had something to do with the 1982 movie Cat People, right? Was this a soundtrack song or something?
I don't know if it was on the soundtrack or not, or if it was just a coincidence.
It must have not been on the soundtrack because this came out in 83 and that was an 82 released movie. So I'm not sure about that. Maybe your listeners can pipe in, but that's another good song as well. And then it rounds out with Shake It. The final song is Shake It. It's kind of a very similar to Let's Dance, almost not copied, but it's not really original. It may be another throwaway, but there's 8 songs on the album, Andy, and there's probably five solid tracks here.
Yep.
3 little weaker tracks, but that's fine. That's fine. It did what it needed.
5 stronger tracks were strong enough where it didn't matter.
Yes, and we see that a lot in big selling albums. So the interesting thing is here, it featured session players. David Bowie did not play an instrument on this album at all. I did not know that.
Yeah.
First album, this is his 15th studio album. All he did was vocals. That was it. Then he brought in a young guitarist named Stevie Ray Vaughan. At the time, he was then unknown.
Yep, this is kind of his Stevie Ray's breakthrough. And when you listen to the rest of the musicians on this one, very blues, very funk orientated. I mean, Nile Rodgers helped produce this album with, Nile Rodgers or Chic, of course. So very funk, very blues right there. And you hear all these names, all these blues guys in it. I mean, listen to this album. It's not really a blues album, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, it's got some good bass. The guitar very bluesy. I listened to the
Yep.
whole thing after realizing Stevie Ray Vaughan did the guitar work on this, which is also something I did not know. Mr. SRV, very good, very bluesy. But here's the genre for this album. It's called post disco, dance rock, new wave, and dance pop. What are your thoughts?
Because that was all Bowie's genre anyway, so it kind of fell into that. I think he could have Kiss as his backup band. They would have said it was dance pop. So I mean, um, yeah, like I said, you could hear the blues in it with Stevie Ray Vaughan, but I wouldn't consider it a blues album though.
Yeah, I like that the blues guitar, but yes, these songs aren't bluesy, but the guitar work is really good. If you get a chance, listen to it
Yeah,
again for those listening out there. Now, Let's Dance was released to massive commercial success, reaching number one in numerous countries. It turned Bowie into a major superstar. So he was a superstar before, well-known guy, right?
right.
This really put him over the top.
Yeah,
Now, here's a quote. I'm going to read you a paragraph from Wikipedia, and I want your thoughts on this. Despite the album's success, Let's Dance began a period of low creativity for Bowie. He felt that he had to pander his music to his newly acquired audience, which led to his follow up albums Tonight, 1984, and 1987's Never Let Me Down being critically dismissed. He later reflected poorly on that period, referring to that as his quote, Phil Collins years.
yeah.
Oh, God, I love that. And so he just goes after Collins and says, I just really didn't, there wasn't much there.
And that could be true because really these few albums that were very successful for Bowie aren't Bowie albums.
Okay.
If you, another group Bowie was in at one time, Tin Machine.
Okay.
Check them out sometime. Not real Bowie-ish stuff. You look at Major Tom and you look at his Ziggy Stardust stuff. That was different. But that wasn't a different band. That was still Bowie. He kind of did 3 or 4 albums to kind of change his. He didn't need to reinvent himself. He wasn't doing that. He just kind of did something different. And
Very
now he just
creative, a lot of
yeah.
experimental stuff.
Now
He
he did
liked
something for a couple 3 albums. So you could own every Bowie album, and it wouldn't feel like you had every Bowie album. You own all the Kiss albums. They all kind of all the AC/DC albums. They're all kind of the same.
Yep.
You can tell that's the same band from Boom 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 Boom. You take all of Bowie's albums and you just grab any 3 and throw them in one after the other. You wouldn't know that was the same guy because he changed around a lot, which is good if you can accept that. Because Let's Dance is a good album. I couldn't listen to a career of this stuff though.
Yeah. Yeah. And it once again, it's for that time and in that time frame.
It was
That
very
dance,
for the time.
MTV, dance, club music.
Yep.
Great stuff. And so here's the songs that were released as singles. Remember, 8
Yep.
songs, no instrumentals, no ballads, just
Yep.
straight up songs. A couple cover songs thrown in there. They released Let's Dance, March of '83. And China Girl, May of '83. And those were both MTV huge
Yes.
airplay for those guys was huge. And then in September that year after Labor Day released Modern Love. I remember that being a big hit. And then released in November was Without You, the song I mentioned earlier that almost seemed like a filler, didn't really do that well. That was actually released as a single. All right. Now, in 1980, a couple years before this album, the murder of John Lennon affected Bowie deeply and actually canceled his upcoming Scary Monsters tour and withdrew to his home in Switzerland, becoming basically a recluse. And so that really put him down. And boy, that's why, they hadn't recorded, he hadn't done a live concert tour in about 5 years. And so they get this album, they put it together. It says, during this, Andy, you'll like this. He grew fond of artists from the 50s and 60s, including James Brown, Buddy Guy, Elmore James, and Albert King. So the musical ideals from those artists greatly influenced this new album. What are your thoughts on that?
You could hear it too. Like I said, with the blues and the funk in there and stuff, you kind of went back to the old rock and roll, if you will. And I wouldn't be surprised if his relationship with John Lennon had a lot to do with that too.
Okay. Okay.
Because he went back to kind of the roots of it, which again was Bowie. He was different. He was a little outside the box, a little ahead of his time. Not trendsetter head, but just a little. Not that he did something goes, hey, Bowie did it, let's copy it. That type of ahead of the time, but he'd go outside the box and stuff he did maybe a few years later caught on, or people figured out what he was doing. Going, hey, I get it now.
Makes sense. The recording was very interesting. This went really quick. Nile Rodgers said this is the fastest I've ever worked in my life working with Bowie. He likes to work fast, and I plan to do the same for the rest of my career, he said back in 83. It's just the most energetic way to make records. The musicians were really pumped up because of the fast pace. And the result we got some great performances. And Niall loved it. He liked it. It was very different for him, but he liked it.
Well, you're on a roll. You're doing something. You keep going. So many musicians now. We got to record from 9 to 5. We break and then we write. It's kind of like when you're cleaning out the garage. You start doing it, and things. You just next thing you know, 4 hours are gone, and you're done. Same type of product. He just starts doing it, but he wants to keep going. He doesn't want to be scheduled. I want to go, go, go.
Yeah, this entire record, well, just the 8 songs, were completed in 17 days. Now, in 82, at a jazz festival in Switzerland, David Bowie saw Stevie Ray Vaughan play guitar. He was still an unknown 28-year-old from Texas. His debut album with the band Double Trouble was still unreleased. So he really liked this guy and says, hey, let's get this guy on the album. He didn't, and I don't believe, hired him to be in his band, but said, hey, for this album, could you be the section guy?
One-time deal.
A one-time deal. And worked out great. Now,
and again, you look at all the other band members that were on here, they're all part of Nile Rodgers' band back in the day. So, which was, I thought, really interesting.
And Rodgers became, him and Stevie Ray Vaughan became very close friends after these sessions.
Yep.
He wasn't that Stevie Ray Vaughan was not a big David Bowie fan after this album was done. In fact, he was upset on that one music video, Let's Dance, where David Bowie's sitting there strumming the lead guitar on the video, like he's playing the guitar. Yeah, Ray Vaughan's like, are you kidding me, bro?
Yeah, he doesn't play guitar at all on the album. Yeah, here on this video.
Yeah, that's my guitar work, and you're just kind of air jamming it there.
That's MTV for you.
It the song "Let's Dance" was maybe the guitar solo in Stevie Ray Vaughan's that song. His guitar solo is maybe the finest on the record, and it's true. It's got some very good stuff, and maybe that's his finest work on the album. And that's where he sees Bowie standing up there strumming the guitar while he's playing those very parts. He's like, okay, that's not cool. Not cool, bro.
And this album shows how pop icon popular it is in the movie The Wedding Singer.
Oh, was it in there? Okay.
They get now those songs that get this album. Drew Barrymore and her friend are sitting there singing China Girl and how Bowie's album is so great and everything else. So it was a pop icon culture for that time.
Interesting. Now, overall, worldwide, this thing sold 10.7 million copies. Very good. It was, Andy was nominated for a Grammy that year, but lost out to Michael Jackson's Thriller. So once again, this was in that year, that time frame where multiple good music was out.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Let's see what else I got here. Here is the musicians that appear on the record. So David Bowie, vocals. You got Stevie Ray Vaughan on all the lead guitar. Now you got 2 guys playing bass, Carmine Rojas. And then on one song, it's Bernard Edwards. And these 2 guys on these 8 songs, I have to say, are tremendous, Andy. Drums, Omar Haken and Tony Thompson.
Now, Omar Haken, a couple notes on him. Okay. He's also played with Chic. He played, and this is just his genre of people he played for. He played with Madonna, Sting, Dire Straits, Journey, David Lee Roth, Celine Dion, So he kind of covered a lot of different genres there. And Tony Thompson, of course, was a Chic, and also with a band that had a couple albums. I guess you'd call it a super group, the Power Station, which
Oh
was
yes.
him, Robert Palmer, John Taylor, and Andy Taylor from Duran Duran. So again, Power Station's music and that was kind of a little different than the rest. So again, I don't want to say he got studio musicians. He did, but a lot of them all played with Chic, or they all played with other. They all kind of knew each other already, which made it sound good. You can't get an all-star band together for one song and have it sound decent. He got guys who'd all worked together before, so it kind of helped all click. Except for Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course.
I thought it was interesting. 17 hours for this to complete the entire recording studio session time was 17 hours. That's the bill they paid. That's it.
Again, like I said, you look at all the musicians he had in there. He had professionals in there, so they.
But for those
who
didn't
had
know,
other bands, he had things to do. They didn't have time to waste.
Much like myself, never knew that Stevie Ray Vaughan was on this, so I was interested in doing this album review just because of that. So that's all I've got. Anything else?
No, I got some stuff here. I got my little. Another on that album. It is a good album. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool album to listen to. The songs all come on the radio. We all know the songs. So that's the thing about the Bowie album. That album. They're all good songs. We don't all sound alike either. Sometimes you get like that fourth song. They kind of start sounding similar. This one was all kind of pretty good. Pretty good. All right, here we go. Say it here. I have issues with my stuff. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Yes, this was off the Kicking Herald Facebook page. I got this. Kiss settled a lawsuit with their wig roadie.
Oh my God.
The headline cracked me up because apparently the guy that took care of their wigs was let go in 2023 and sued for wrongful termination. This must have been a good case because Kiss paid him off. Like he said here, what'd your grandpa do? He was a Kiss wig roadie, but now he's rich and retired.
Oh my God. That's a great story.
That the wig roadie.
Just having that job. So all four of those guys, right? On those tours had wigs.
Paul's hair was never like that, and Gene's hair never got that long again. You see him afterwards. Gene's hair is never too bushy and stuff now.
That is awesome. I did not hear about that. That's a great story.
Kicking Harold, the Facebook page I got off this, him and his reels, very good follow. I highly recommend.
Okay. Kicking Harold. I love it.
All right. The Wayward Boys Club and Cheap Trick, a tribute to Dream Police.
Wow.
Tribute the Dream Police. That's their band. Their Cheap Trick tribute. January 11th at Music City Cafe. We have seen them, Dream Police, Dan, when we saw Kissin' Time at the
that was the Cheap Trick tribute band?
That was them,
I don't know. I knew that. Oh, yeah, we've seen them.
So we have seen them.
Yeah.
The Crown Jewels, Queen tribute. I think we were playing out at in St. Michael there, February 7th. That was last night, but I just put this up, or February 7th. So it's coming up. I see these guys post a lot, and I still have not seen them. I need to.
They would be a good show. I could only imagine.
Yeah, I need to get to see these guys. I see them up all the time. We push them all the time. We need to get them on, and we got to go see them. Metallica with special guest Seattle Rain at Bogart's coming up January 31st at 6 p.m.
I'm thinking that this might work, Andy, but I'm not sure. I didn't buy tickets yet. I'm thinking about going, but that.
All right.
That would be
And
good.
here's another one. Queen of the Reich and Metallica again, February 22nd, behind the Shutter Curtain there in St. Croix. It's a free show.
Oh, interesting.
So if you want to make the trek out there, you don't have to buy a ticket. Just get a room and go to the concert.
February. Okay, I like that.
The Fitzgerald Theater hosting the band Our House, which is a tribute to Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, or as the ones really following it say, CSNY.
Exactly.
I don't. I call them Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, but
So this is Andy. This is in St. Paul, downtown St. Paul at the
Yes.
Fitzgerald. Okay.
Yep. I saw them a few weeks ago, or about a month or so ago now, I guess, when they opened up for Tom Petty's tribute band Free Fallin' at Medina.
Oh yes.
If you like that type of music, you like Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, this is the band to see. Even if you just appreciate good harmonies, this is the band to see.
This is a Saturday night also.
Because Crosby, Stills, Nash, say what you will about their lyrics, they did sound good. They hit everything perfect. Musically, they were very good. And if you appreciate that stuff, this is a band to go see.
I would be interested in listening to these guys.
Yes. All right. The Sounds of Seattle Grunge. They got some Alice in Chains in there, some Jam, some Nirvana, some Soundgarden. They will be at Medina February 8th.
Nice. That's another Saturday night show. That looks to be very good. Medina's always good.
Patrick Stone, new member of Hairball. Drew Hill's no longer with them there. Patrick Stone joins Hairball as they start their 25th anniversary tour. He comes from out west there. He's done some other stuff like this. I personally have not heard of him or heard his stuff, but if he's good enough for Hairball, he's good enough.
He's got to be. He's got to be. They set a high bar, right?
Yes, the bar is there. Peter of Peter, Paul, and Mary passed away at the age of 86. He did marry Mary Beth McCarthy in Wilmer, Minnesota in 1969.
Oh, wow.
There's our local tie-in right there. Had to throw that in.
I did not know.
Yes. Well, I wasn't invited to the wedding because I wasn't born yet.
Wow.
So I don't hold a grudge. I don't hold any grudges. No. Sunflower Fox and the Chicken Leg. New one coming out tomorrow.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They're covering Mississippi Queen.
I got to
very
write this
excited.
down. This is tomorrow. It's going to drop.
Very excited. Yes.
So it's not an album. It's a single, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
New music this Friday. Our cover of Mississippi Queen. Released on all streaming platforms. So,
all right. This should be good. They always have good stuff, and I'm guessing they'll have a great video with this. Do you think they have a good video?
Jay's voice, Mike got guitar. I'm very excited. And of course, you know us. Once we see it pop up on their social media page, we will share it. So keep an eye open. All right. Again, for Kicking Herald, Mammoth WVH, Wolfgang Van Halen.
Okay.
And if you know anything about Van Halen, the original band was supposed to be called Mammoth. So 0 points for originality on your name for the band. Working on their third album. I didn't know you had 2 albums out, let alone a third.
Yeah, I don't follow this group, but I probably should. I think we'd like this.
I don't know. I don't know if I would or not. Okay. I mean, everybody goes, "Oh, it's Eddie's kid, and he played in Van Halen, and he uses the Van Halen name, but that's not why he's popular, of course." Blah blah blah. Yeah, every time you see him on a tour, he's like one of 3 opening acts. He's the opening of the opening acts. You know, he's not selling out Target Center on his own. He's there because he's opening up for 2 other bands that are opening up for the headliner. You know,
interesting. I'd be willing to give it a listen. Sure.
All right, and the Doobie Brothers announced their first album with Michael McDonald in 4 decades.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm living in a time machine.
I know all these guys are coming back. Michael McDonald's still sounding kind of good, if you're like that. And Faith No More will be touring in 2025. Do your homework. Look up some old Faith No More. One guy, I don't think he's cut his hair since then or washed it. Matter. And that's all I got. I do have one more thing to say here. Let's do that button and this button here. I did a special episode yesterday celebrating the 90th birthday of the King.
Yes. Okay.
So that's out there for you to go look at. Elvis fans. And also the cafe on the right, how this would have been David Bowie's birthday and the anniversary of his death and the anniversary of his last album he released, all in the same week here. A lot of other famous musicians had birthdays this week. Black Eyes Name, the lead singer of Loverboy, had a birthday this week. Go back and enjoy the 90s, listen to early 90s, and enjoy Loverboy. You know, working for the weekend.
Good stuff. Always
Yeah.
like those bands.
So go back and listen to The King. Again, I'm going to harp it and play it one more time. Our 12 one-hit wonders of the 80s playlist. Go back and check that out. Give us suggestions for our next 12 that we do. One-hit wonders of the 80s. We'd appreciate it. That's kind of all I got, man.
That's all I got also. All right, everyone. Any comments, questions, leave below in the comments section. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.